I want to give a special shout out to all my patrons first. Thank you so much to my Bibliospren, Bibliohowlers, and my Bibliomancers. It means a lot to me that you give me your extra support for my passion and hobby. Hi everyone, Patrick here. Today's video will be a spoiler-free review of the second Secret Project novel by Brandon Sanderson. This is probably the first time on my channel anyway, on my booktube channel, I posted a review that is not overwhelmingly positive. That is not totally positive. I always post a detailed review for every book that I finish, but I post them on Goodreads. On my YouTube channel, I usually post only those books that I absolutely loved, or at least a 4 out of 5 stars rating. But yeah, this book does not receive a 4 out of 5 stars rating from me. It receives a lower rating than that, and yes, I know that is a rarity for Sanderson's books, for me anyway. But I think Sanderson's experimental and bizarre comedic sci-fi novel with the theme of redemption will be a big hit or miss. I will try my best to make this review as spoiler-free as possible, but if you are watching this right now, I'm going to assume that you are okay with knowing the title of the book. At least. I am someone who is very sensitive to spoilers, but I really do not mind this. I do not understand why a title of a book in this time and day can be considered as a spoiler. Plus, the title of the 4 Secret Project novels has been circulating around the internet for many months now. So yeah, I will try to make this review as spoiler-free as possible, but I do want to let you know first that I will showcase the cover art and also 2 interior artworks inside this book on this review. I will show them when I'm talking about the production value near the end of this video, so make sure to check the timestamps. If you do not want to know anything about the interior artworks and all that, make sure to skip the part when I'm talking about the production value. But anyway, speaking of months earlier, I think time really flies like an arrow. It feels like we are still talking and praising Trash of the Emerald Sea, the first Secret Project novel by Brandon Sanderson, and then suddenly 3 months have passed. And now the second Secret Project novel, The Frugal's Wizard Handbook for Surviving Medieval England, is here. In my review for Trash of the Emerald Sea and some of my past videos, I have mentioned plenty of times that the second Secret Project novel is my least anticipated Secret Project novel out of the 4 Secret Project. And there are 2 reasons for this. First, this is not part of the Cosmere. And second, based on the premise and the title, I knew that this one would become the most experimental out of the 4 Secret Project novels. Unfortunately, so far anyway, I was proven right. Unlike Trash of the Emerald Sea, which pleasantly surprised me, I must say, I have mixed feelings regarding The Frugal's Wizard Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. Yeah, that is one heck of a long title. There were some parts that I really enjoyed in this book, and some elements simply did not work for me. A man awakes in a clearing in what appears to be medieval England with no memory of who he is, where he came from, or why he is there. His sole hope for survival lies in regaining his missing memories, making allies among the locals, and perhaps even trusting in their superstitious boasts. His only help from the real world should have been a guidebook entitled The Frugal's Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England, but his copy exploded during transit. He needs to reclaim his memories and quickly figure out his current situation with the few clues he has left to survive. This book has been advertised as a mix of Jason Bourne and epic fantasy, and I have to disagree with this pitch. The novel belongs in the sci-fi genre rather than epic fantasy. Maybe portal fantasy or isekai can be used to categorize the concept, but the book definitely feels and reads like a sci-fi novel. With time travel, technologies, earth setting, and multiple dimensions, it is hard to call this an epic fantasy novel. And genre classifications aside, do not expect the narrative here to be in tone with Jason Bourne's story. The story did turn into something more serious and relatively tense by the last 30% of the book, but most of the time this is largely a comedic novel, and that's precisely one of the main issues I had with The Frugal's Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. When it comes to Sanderson novels, whether they are in the Cosmere or not, I think readers often agree or disagree regarding the quality of his jokes and comedy. From my perspective, I am mostly okay or good with Sanderson's jokes in the Cosmere novels. For example, in the case of Wit, Lopen, Wayne, and Lightsong, I highly enjoyed reading their jokes in their respective series. But Lift, that one was a complete miss for me. And it is sad to say that the jokes here, the majority of them simply did not land on me at all, and there were many of them. This will be a completely subjective reading experience, just like any book we read. And to be fair, the jokes successfully set the fun and whimsical tone of the story nicely. But at the same time, in my opinion, they make the narrative feels too oriented towards younger readers. This was especially true in the first half of the novel. If you think Wayne's jokes are bad or too much, wait until you read this book. I actually got secondhand embarrassment from many of his jokes. It is well known that Sanderson is a huge fan of Terry Pratchett's books and also Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. And it seems like he might be channeling a bit too much of his love for these books into the writing and storytelling here. Sanderson's love for Terry Pratchett's books shine nicely in The Trash of the Emerald Sea, but in my opinion, not in this book. However, despite the connection with the comedy and also the jokes, I have to say that the main character had a well-written gradual character development. This notion did not happen quickly for me because I did not feel invested in the main character until I reached the second half of the novel. One of the things I love most about this novel is how the theme of redemption, overcoming challenges, and destroying negative mindsets are implemented into the narrative. We witness more of this as the main character's past is gradually revealed. A little pebble can start an avalanche, and when you are clouded by the snowball effect of its compounding, it is not easy to get out of it. This is discussed often in this book, and it played a big part in increasing my enjoyment of this book. As I said, I felt fully invested in the main character story arc near the end of the book. But that situation is specifically reserved for the main character and narrator. The supporting characters are a different matter. This is my second issue with the book. The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England is a relatively small book. In 80,000 words and about 400 pages long, with a lot of artworks, the relatively short length of the novel did not provide enough room and space to develop the supporting characters and maximize the world building. In return, the supporting characters felt underdeveloped and forgettable. I did not plan this, but I was on a first-person POV book binge lately. And in these amazing books like Red Rising Saga by Chris Brown or The Will of the Many by James Islington, the author succeeded in making me deeply care about the supporting characters even though their story were told exclusively to the first-person perspective of the main character. Sad to say, I did not get that in this book. World building is one of Sanderson's best strengths as a storyteller. Even those who dislike his books often agree that his world building is imaginative and also brilliant. The same notion and praises can be applied here. However, the high concept of multiple dimensions that offers many possibilities for more books in the universe or series would have been better if this book was not a one-off standalone novel. The world building here would have worked better for me if it was, let's say, the first book in a series or in a series or universe of connecting standalone stories. Just imagine, in this novel, the story deals with one story in one dimension. This multiple dimension can become Sanderson's new playground to write more standalone sci-fi or fantasy novels. Who knows, it might just happen in the future. And I do not recommend this because we still have so many more stories in the Cosmere to tell. But if it does come to that, meaning that we have more books in the same universe in the future, then I will go back to this review and I will most likely change my mind regarding the world building. Right now though, the world building here remains a cool, underdeveloped concept and premise that needs more books and exposure to reach its maximum potential. And the relatively low page count and word count of this book does not do it justice. Even when the Sanderlands managed to provide another engaging and satisfying reading experience as expected of Brandon Sanderson. As you can probably tell, it is not easy for me to review this book. Brandon Sanderson is one of my top favorite authors. His accessible prose, his world building, his characterizations, and his actions, all of them suits my reading taste so damn well. Except for Elantris, I never rated any of Sanderson's books anything below a 4 out of 5 stars rating, any of Sanderson's novel. But if I have to judge this book solely from the text and story, I will have to give it a 3 out of 5 stars rating. Fortunately, my experience of this book is not only based on the writing and text. We need to talk about the production value. The immense production value needs to be put into account as well. And if you do not want to know anything about this, feel free to skip this timestamp. But back to the topic of production value, Steve Argyle, the illustrator behind the Second Secret Project novel, went above and beyond with his contributions. I'm not joking. If you think Trash of the Emerald Sea already has an abundance of stunning artwork, wait until you read this one. In total, Steve Argall provided more than 100 unique artworks. Every chapter header here is distinctive, no repetition. And there are more than 30 chapters, almost 40 chapters. These are on top of 5 fully colored interior illustrations, 2-tone front and rear end papers, and 17 two-tone interior illustrations, and many small comic strips as well. The magnificent illustrations and production value elevated the overall package of the novel to 3.5 stars or a 4 out of 5 stars rating. Trash of the Emerald Sea came in green, and the Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England is produced in blue. If you are familiar with the Way of Kings Dragonsteel Leatherbound edition, the two-tone interior illustration is similar to the blue two-tone interior art in the Way of Kings. And yes, Steve Argall provided some two-tone interior illustrations there too. And after putting the story and production value into the equation, I will have to rate this book with a 3.5 out of 5 stars rating. That's the same rating I gave Elantris. I haven't read many of the non-Cosmere books like the Reckoners trilogy, the Rhythmatis, Alcatraz, and the Skyward series, but excluding short stories, novellas, and graphic novels. And although this is still a good book and good rating overall, this rating and review makes the second Secret Project novel by Brandon Sanderson my least favorite Sanderson book that I've read so far. My least favorite Sanderson's novel. I am not disappointed though. The ebook I read was already super beautiful, and I cannot wait to see how much better the physical book will be. And as I said, a 3.5 stars rating is still a good rating. My instinct says the physical book will actually have a different cover art compared to the ebook that we got right now, for a secret surprise effect, but we shall see. But to close this review, I will just say that I am still very much looking forward to reading the third and fourth Secret Project novel, my most anticipated Sanderson Secret Project novels, in July and October. I can't believe that we're almost halfway through the year of Sanderson. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me today. It is a bit unfortunate that this one did not hit with me as well as Trash of the Emerald Sea, but I still like the book overall. And it is incredibly difficult to deny Steve Argall's awesome contributions to this Secret Project novel. If you have read this book, do let me know what you think about it. Do you agree with me, or did you have a better time with this book than I did? But yeah, that's pretty much it from me today. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.